Supreme Court has waded in to President Trump's push to cut foreign aid. Chief Justice John Roberts put a lower court order on hold that required the Trump administration to release about $2 billion in frozen assistance. The State Department and USAID contractors suing have until tomorrow to respond. Caitlin Huey-Burns joins us now from Capitol Hill. Caitlin, as I understand it, you talked to at least one employee of USAID that has lost their job. What was that interaction like?
Yeah, Major, we spent the morning at USAID headquarters here in Washington as now former workers were allowed into the building in 15-minute increments to collect their belongings. And we saw people bringing out suitcases, bringing out reusable grocery bags full of their belongings from their workspaces. As you can imagine, there were many people in tears, embracing, hugging. There was a group of people outside to support them. Every time someone left the building, that group cheered for them. And it felt like bearing witness to a situation of mass layoffs, which this was. But what we heard over and over again from the workers that I talked to was that they were less concerned about these cuts to the federal workforce and more concerned about the work that they were doing and the way in which they had been treated, kind of denigrated. U.S. government service being denigrated. Take a listen to what at least one of them told me earlier today.
We're not just faceless bureaucrats, we're actually people who have family, who have plans, who had aspirations, and now I just watched my career plan kind of go up in flames.
That was a sentiment heard kind of across the board. I talked to one woman who had a 6-month-old baby who came out carrying her breast pump and was kind of wondering what to do next. And again, they just reiterated that a lot of the work that they were doing was a key part of a long-standing mission for USAID.
And Caitlin, as I understand it, you talked to former USAID Administrator Samantha Power about all this.
That's right, and she served under the Biden administration. You may also remember she was President Barack Obama's UN ambassador as well. But she was making a twofold point to me. One, of course, the void that this leaves for actual people across the world, but also the way in which USAID has been kind of the vehicle for soft power in the United States, and the concern that that void would then be filled by China. And others, to say the least. Take a listen to what she had to say here.
What do you make of the argument that it's not being dismantled, it's just being moved over to the State Department?
It's not happening. I mean, you're laying off all the people who know how to prevent polio. That's not something you can't just like pull some rando off the street and say, hey, go prevent polio.
So not so much opposition to this agency being moved into or folded into another one. I mean, Madeleine Albright had suggested that years ago as well, but it's the way in which they're going about it and essentially gutting the entire agency. And we learned today from the State Department, as you mentioned, nearly 10,000 contracts between state and USAID, the bulk of them coming from USAID, about 92% of the work eliminated.
Caitlin Huey-Burns on Capitol Hill, thank you very much.